What's going on, friends? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Alexander Ailing. In this video, I'm going to be taking you through the process of building this new deck. If you're new here, there's a lot to catch up on, but for those of you watching who are regular viewers, subscribers, shout out to you, you're awesome. This building has been a journey. Been working on it pretty much regularly for the last 2 years. This deck is one of the last major projects before it is finished, the renovation on this building. The last step for this exterior will be installing a veranda, but the deck was a big job, and in this video I'm going to be taking you through all the different steps to get it looking like this. So stay tuned. Ready to get to work, Blanca? Huh? Yeah? Yes, friends, welcome back. It's another day. It's another big project. We are here at the stage of deck building, or as it's called in New Zealand, deck building. Basically what we've done is my buddy came to visit, and he helped me rip out the old deck and pile that over in the burn pile. And then I had a builder come out, and his apprentice is going to be helping me finish building the deck. But basically what we did was we marked out where all the post holes are going to be. We're also going to be building a covering, so it will be a covered deck. It'll have like a veranda on it. So that's what these big tall posts are for. And then down here we have the posts where the deck is going to sit. So it's good. It's all coming together. We're making a lot of progress, and this is really honestly the final step for getting this building prepared, finished, because the interior is looking real nice. But one of the things that we came upon when digging the posts was found this big giant old post hole from some previous building or something that they had here. It was so big that we could barely get it out on the ground. I did my best to break it up with a sledgehammer, but you know, I couldn't really get it all the way to a point where it's actually still too heavy to lift. So I've hired a breaker, a small, like, kind of compact jackhammer, if you will, and we're going to use it to break through the cement, get it broken down to smaller chunks so that I can take it and properly dispose of it, get it off of the property. So before we move forward with building the deck, we got to do a little bit of demolition. All right, well, I've never used one of these things before. It's huge. So yeah, I guess all we do is plug it in and hold on for dear life. Let's see what we get. I'm forgetting one thing, which is a mask, because concrete dust is not good to breathe. So I headed down to my local recycling center to get rid of all of the concrete that I pulled down on the ground, and then it was on to the next jobs. So once we had all the post holes installed and cemented in, I made sure that I painted all of them with a waterproofing paint, and then we covered the tops of them with this bitumen paper that basically stops moisture from seeping up from the posts and from the ground into the timber. This is all just designed to help keep the wood in good condition for as long as possible. So we took these big beams and we ran them the length of where the deck was going to go in, lining them up with these strings that we used to basically outline the footprint of the deck. So we've just now laid down the two main posts. Third one's going to go in, but we got to clear this. This pipe is for the sewage coming out of the sleep out in the septic tank. So we're going to build a seat over it, connect these two areas of decking and build a seat over it. So just making sure it's all clear. So later that day, we had all of the beams installed and nailed into the concreted posts. And what I'm using is this bitumen paint once again and sealing up all of the exposed areas to stop water getting in. Then we used a nail gun to secure the beams to the posts. And at the end of the day, it was looking pretty good. So we were on to the next step, which was basically just marking out where all the joists are going to go. So every 400 mil, I would put a line, and that was where we would lay down the joists. And these are the horizontal pieces of timber that the deck is actually going to sit on. So those sit on top of the beams, and the decking sits on top of the joists. So once we had them in place, we nailed them to the beams. Hey friends, we did it. It's been a journey, but the deck foundation is in. Feeling pretty good about it. It's been a job for sure. Mad respect for people who dig post holes for a living. That is really, it's tiring work. Yeah. And it's given me a whole new perspective on appreciation for the people who do tough jobs like these for a living, not just for some form of self-masochism because they want to improve their property. Basically where we are now is all of the posts and the main beams with the joists are all nailed in, they're all installed. It took a little while today to just kind of figure it all out and get it all in, but it's there. Definitely ready for this next step. So basically I have a lot of salvaged decking timber from last year when my parents came to visit. My dad and I pulled out this old kind of like playpen that was built next to the swing set, and it had a lot of good decking timber in it, so we pulled that all out. We'll get them all measured up, get them installed, and then we're gonna get new timber for the rest of the deck. So it's gonna be good, but it's been a long day. I'm hungry, dinner's cooking right now, and we'll call it here for today. See you tomorrow. All right, good morning friends. Next stage on the deck build. I've taken out all of the salvaged decking timber from that little playpen, and I've laid it all out. So the first step is I'm gonna start from this side, work my way in. I've already cut the two pieces of decking timber to fit over this veranda post hole. And we're just gonna start by lining everything up and moving our way from the outside in. We'll be using nails to space between the pieces of timber, because one thing that you do not want in your deck is the timber to be too close together. What that actually does is it causes the water to not drain when it rains off the deck, and then that can cause your deck to rot. So a quick little hack is you can just take a nail, gently tap it right there, and you can kind of work your way off of that front one once that's installed, and it'll just give you a nice little gap of a few millimeters. So yeah, that's basically where we're at. I have a fair bit of decking timber, and we'll just work our way from the outside back in there. All right, well, I had my work cut out for me. I had all this salvaged decking timber, and it's kind of of various lengths, but first job was just making sure that the decking fit around the posts for the veranda. And so I measured those up, cut them, put them in place, fit them in, and began attaching them to the joists using decking screws. A lot of people prefer to use nails, but I'd like to use decking screws just because you have the option of getting them out easily, and just in case any of these pieces of salvaged timber start to decay, I can easily remove a piece and replace it with new timber without having to rip up the whole deck. Yes, friends, update. It's now Friday, and I've been working on the deck now for a few days. I have successfully yesterday completed basically 1/3 of the deck using recycled salvaged timber from the property. So that feels really good. Yesterday I went back to the hardware store and I bought... Lucy is hungry. She wants milk, but we're beginning the weaning process, which means like we're not feeding her as much. Slowly, you just feed them a little bit less and less. You remove a meal each day, and then eventually they stop drinking milk. But the first week or so of it, there's a lot of that. Now, today's plan is to take the new decking timber that I bought, get that measured up, cut, and installed. And then once the decking is all installed, I'll fire up the new pressure washer and we will pressure wash all of the old timber, and then we'll stain everything so that it's all the same color and it's gonna look fantastic. Let's get started. Yeah, so we're back at it. We are measuring where the cuts are going to go so that the decking timber fits around the veranda beams. So I'm just using a skill saw and a speed square. If you don't have a speed square and you're planning on doing any type of building, grab yourself one because it really helps. Once I made the cuts, I covered those interior areas of the deck with the stain, and this is also just to prevent moisture getting into the timber and eventually compromising it. I kind of got into a bit of a groove where I would put the screws in and then remove the spacer nails and then move on to the next one, do the whole thing over again, and eventually we made it to the end of the deck. All right, so we have made major progress today. Major progress. The vast majority of the deck is installed. Now we're just into like the tricky little spots right in along the building. As seems to be the norm around here, the walls on this building are not plumb, which means they're not like level. So it's actually kind of cutting in at an angle, very slightly, ever so slightly. But that makes running these last few bits of timber a little bit more challenging. So also using the old timber, the recycled timber, and the new timber, the recycled timber is technically the same piece of timber, but that's dry and this is new, and so there's some moisture in there. And I think what's going to happen is that as this dries out, it'll shrink a little bit, but it's made it so that, you know, it's not quite exact lines here, but whatever. So what I need to do now is my last big long piece of timber, it's 5 meters long. I'm gonna run it from the edge of the deck over there all the way past this and up to that joist, which is about 4 meters. In order to do that, I'm gonna have to tuck it in under these little, I don't even know, accoutrement pieces here. So I'm gonna have to cut right in along that and right in along that so that this piece of timber will be able to slide right through there. And we're gonna use the multi-tool, the most handy little piece of equipment that you could buy. So I will turn the Grateful Dead back on. I've been listening to a nice mixture of Marley Brothers, reggae, country, western. Been listening to a lot of country music lately, digging Morgan Wallen and Hardy, and then obviously my favorite, you know, classic rock and some good Grateful Dead. So plus some Sublime. It's been a good playlist out here. Good music helps hard work get done faster. Maybe not faster, but feels easier. Anyways, this is probably the last thing I'm going to do tonight because it's already 6. So I'll knock off pretty soon. Go have some dinner. Carrie's cooking a pasta bolognese, and I'm looking forward to the beef and to the carbohydrates. So we'll get these cut, and maybe we'll lay that last piece of timber and call it a day. Okay friends, it's the next morning. It's a beautiful day, and we've got the final steps for this deck build. The first of which is pressure washing the salvaged decking timber so that it looks like the brand new timber. And then once that's done, we'll stain it and match it all up, and the deck build will be finished, which I'm very excited about. But in order to prep the wood, we have to strip it back, all the salvaged wood. It's got some lichen growing on it, there's discoloration, some of it was in the sun, some of it wasn't. And so the tool we're gonna use to make this look like new is this brand new pressure washer from Still. The friendly folks at Still New Zealand have hooked me up with this pressure washer, and I'm gonna put it to use all over this property. But the first job that it's ever gonna do is pressure washing this deck. So time to clean my deck. Oh my God, this thing was fun. Let's go. Am I the only one that thinks this is just so aesthetically pleasing? Don't lie. You know you like it. right, friends. Well, the pressure washer did a great job. Blasted off so much like lichen and just dirt and stains, and the wood is looking pretty good under there. So the next step is we'll just leave this to dry in the sun for a few hours till it's dried out well, and then we'll come back through here and we'll hit the whole deck with a stain, which is a weatherproofing substance. It's kind of like a paint. It's gonna make the wood look a little darker, richer in color, but more importantly, it's gonna protect it from the elements. So we'll just let everything dry out here and we'll come check back in a few hours for the final step. Okay, so that's the brand new stuff and that is the salvaged stuff. And honestly, it looks really, really, really good. Very happy with that. So it's time to stain it. Let's do it. You've got a lot of options when it comes to staining your deck. I highly recommend cleaning and drying your deck before you stain it though. Now there's a lot of choices. I prefer to stain it darker. I think it holds up a little bit better and I don't know, it just looks better in my opinion. So we're saying goodbye to the unstained deck and saying hello to a nice new dark deck.
Okay, you're pushing it now.
Okay friends, well I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, you know what to do. Give it a thumbs up. Click the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. And drop a comment down in the comment section. How do you think it turned out? If you have any questions about how to build a deck, I'll happily share the knowledge that I gained through doing this with you. And if you have your own knowledge, please feel free to share it down there in the comments for anybody else who's looking for it. Yeah, we'll catch you in the next video and happy holidays.